Good morning to our viewers in Nigeria, in Africa, and anywhere across the world. It's the conversation on Tier West Television Network. And happy celebration to our Muslim brothers and sisters out there. So my name is Adesiwa Osui.
And I am Merciful Ajinamo. Happy Ramadan. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you, Merciful. How are you doing?
Good. I'm fine, and you?
I'm very well, thank you. Can you imagine we're already 12 days into the month of May?
I'm telling you, as if the month is running fast, and we have 31 days.
Yes.
I really do hope we can come to it as quick as possible.
Already. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So before we kickstart the show proper, of course, we'll be bringing you the quote of the day. So Will Rogers is there saying, don't let yesterday take up, much of today. So basically, you don't dwell on whatever happened yesterday, whether the mistake of the past, whatever you didn't do right yesterday. Today's another day, so, start over, to continue to make it right, whatever. If it's happened yesterday, forget about it. Today's a brand new day, a fresh start, and a new page. Just dwell on that instead of yesterday. What do you think?
What you said.
I like that part. Okay, so we move straight into development across Africa. We start from Uganda. When Uganda's Yoweri Museveni took his oath of office on Wednesday for his sixth term as president at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, Kampala, the capital city, under heavy security to avoid disturbances from opposition. The ceremony was broadcast on national television, attended by several African heads of state and foreign dignitaries. Museveni was re-elected in January with 58% of the votes, according to official results. His main opposition, Bobi Wine, real named Robert Kyagulanyi, received 35% of the votes. Wine decried the inauguration as a sham in an interview with a foreign media station and said his home was besieged by armed police and military. The presidential election campaign and victory was overshadowed by violence, and opposition candidates forcibly withheld from holding rallies, and dozens of protesters killed by security forces.
That's very sad right there. And moving on to power, talking about Ivory Coast and Ghana, a drop in electricity generation in Ivory Coast and Ghana has led to power cuts in neighboring West African countries of Mali and Burkina Faso. The prolonged dry season and work on transmission lines are said to be the causes for reduced water levels at hydropower dams in both countries that could take months to resolve. According to Amadou Bakayoko, Director General of Ivory Coast National Power Company, in a press conference on Friday, said the country, which exports power to 6 countries, faces a generation deficit of about 200 megawatts, of nearly 10% of its 2,230 megawatt capacity. Meanwhile, Ghana, which exports to Burkina Faso, says its national utility is carrying out rolling outages until May 17th.
Okay, moving over to Sudan, where on Tuesday, 2 male protesters were killed and dozens injured in Khartoum, Sudan's capital, after security forces fired bullets and tear gas to disperse a rally of protesters marking the 2nd anniversary and demanding justice for the casualties of a deadly raid on a peaceful anti-government protest in 2019. Urging a transfer to civilian rule. In a statement early Wednesday morning, Sudan's military said that it regretted the incident and stressed that no instructions had been issued to the forces deployed at the General Command to use live ammunition against citizens. It said it would investigate and cooperate fully with judicial authorities, including handing over anyone shown to be involved. Reacting to the incident in a statement, Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok said he was shocked by the killings, calling the use of live bullets a crime against peaceful protesters and demand immediate justice, while condemning the slowness of the judicial system in uncovering crimes.
And that's what we're asking about, justice. That's what we're seeking for at this time. Still on developments across Africa, talking about Nigeria now, Zamfara State Police Command has deployed 2,000 operatives to every nook and cranny of the 14 local government areas of the state ahead of the Salah celebration starting today. In a press release obtained by TOS News from Police Public Relations Officer of the command, SP Mohammed Shehu Anipir, who spoke on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, Hussaini Rabiu, PSA, on Wednesday, the action was taken to ensure that the forthcoming Salah celebration is crisis-free in vulnerable recreational centers, major highways, Eid praying grounds, government and private infrastructures. The police command under leadership of Hussaini Rabiu has therefore directed area commanders DPOs, and other tactical unit commanders to intensify rigorous patrol in their respective areas of responsibilities.
Yeah, that's quite important at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, having said that, we'll be bringing you COVID-19 updates from across Africa. Welcome back. That was COVID-19 update from across Africa. You know it, that was gathered by Africa Center for Disease Control, that's the Africa CDC. And as you can see, the numbers is still not encouraging. So basically, I'll say everything of what I always say every morning here on the show. Take precaution, do your part so that you and me and the next person can be safe, from COVID-19. Just take the vaccine if you're conscious that you're not vaccine. And if not, just protect yourself and protect the next person, around you. Okay? All right, so we're going to go on a break, and when we come back, we'll be taking you through front pages of our Nigerian dailies this morning.
North to South Africa, East to West Africa, TOS TV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.tostvnetwork.com and follow us on social media at TOSTV.
Yeah, welcome back to the conversation showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. It's that time we'll bring you some of the headlines from across the national dailies for this morning. But before we proceed, don't forget you can always be a part of the show by following us across all our social media platforms at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And of course, you can live stream the program on our website and other programs, www.tostvnetwork.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you've not already done so. It's that time I will bring you some of the headlines beginning from Blueprint this morning. From the very top, we see Buhari in charge, stop blame game. Ndume tells Southern governors, and the writer underneath that story, Southern senators back governor's position. And a story underneath that headline is blackout looms as national grid collapses. That story can be found on page 24. Just besides that particular one, we see $10 billion LNG Train 7 project kicks off this month, and that can be found on page 24 as well. The very gaping headline there is Buhari at Eid al-Fitr with Muslim-Christian solidarity. We can overcome challenges. We have a couple of headlines on that major headline. The first, Lawan, Bajabiamila, Atiku, Kweremadu preach peaceful coexistence. The next one is President needs our prayer, coming from Tinubu. The next one, Khan declares 3-day national prayer. Security challenge not insurmountable, coming from the Inspector General of Police. APC, PDP urge cooperation, patriotism, and why we celebrated Salah Wednesday. That's coming from Dahiru Bauchi. And all of this can be found on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. Under the picture of the day, where it's as though we see people praying. Women nabbed for killing stepson, 2 decomposing bodies exhumed. And that's that one can be found on page 8. NDLEA arrests the Lagos drug baron, seizes cocaine, 145 million naira. Now we see 4 arrested for kidnapping 13-year-old girl in Ogun State. That particular one can be found on page 14. Akwa Ibom police foil another attack on divisional headquarters. We can get that on page 8. And the last headline, 20 to 30% Nigerians suffer mental disorder. We can get that on page 23. That's coming from a psychologist right there.
Okay, moving away from the blueprint to the Daily Trust. The first headline there says, power outage spreads as grid collapse. That's on page 17. Azman Air resumes flights on Sunday. You can find that on page 18. NDLEA nabs ex-Lagos Council boss with cocaine. That story is on page 26. And then to the main headline on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. On Eid al-Fitr, Buhari urges prayers against criminals, desperate power seekers. 3 riders under that headline. The first one says, Lawan Bajabiamila governors call for unity. Put politics aside. Pray for Nigeria, President. That's coming from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Ensure peace with your family and neighbors. That's coming from Atiku Abubakar. And then just underneath the picture of the day, ACF experts flay Southern governor's silence on IPOB's attack. Abandoned newborn survives in hospital. Miyetti Allah seeks removal of Seriki Fulani in Oyo. And then the last headline there says, 3 crushed to death in Akwa Ibom.
All right, the next one is the Daily Times newspaper. From the very top, we see EFCC recovered $153 million, 80 properties from Diziani, says EFCC. The very gaping headline there is Southern senators, reps back, governors demand others. And that can be found on page 2 of the Daily Times newspaper. Underneath the pictures of the day there, insecurity, Boko Haram demands 28 million naira ransom for 52 villagers. The next NPA charges, Bala Usman defends Dangote over non-payment of NPA charges. And the very last headline for the Daily Times this morning, talking about power collapse, TCN confirms total power system collapse. And this good story can be found on page 2 of the Daily Times newspaper.
And then the last newspaper we're going to be looking at this morning is the Business Day. And the Business Day, just on top of that, you have a Business Day market monitor. And then just underneath, business, the main headline there says, Nigerians paying price of Buhari's deaf ear to economic advisors. And that's continued on page 31. Beside that one, cost, security mark plans to produce Nigerian passports locally. And then inside the Business Day newspaper on page 29, Nigeria plunged into darkness as national grid collapses again. All of this you can find, inside the Business Day newspaper.
Yeah, we hope if we can, everyone can just grab a copy of all of these newspapers so they can get the details of all of the stories we've read out, so they can be aware and know what's happening in the country. All right, that's the much you can take on the newspaper review segment of the show. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, Dixwa will be taking us through what's trending on social media.
Welcome back to the conversation. Yes, it's still the conversation on TOS Television Network. And it's about that time where I take you through what is trending or what has been trending or what was trending on social media, in the last 24 hours. And guess what? The hashtag @23 has been made it to the top of the trend table, on Twitter, on social media, basically. So it's basically, just asking people, just coming out to say what they were up to, or their achievement, listing out their achievements, at age 23. I think it was started by, Big Brother Naija housemate contestant from Nengi. It was Nengi who listed out a bunch of achievements things she has done. You know, she said she's age 23 and she listed a lot of things that she's accomplished in that age. And that sparked, you know, conversation on social media. A lot of people just coming out to say, look, at 23, I was doing this, I was doing that. So I'm going to ask you, Mas, what were you doing at age 23?
I think I was in school at that time, facing my studies and just being a good boy. So I was talking with my friend the other day, and she was like, at 23, 24, 25 is the time where she's very serious with school and everything, education. Oh, okay. I think I was also a good person too. So.
Okay, let's see how many people agree with you on that one. I'm going to read out a few tweets here to that regard for you. The first one is from Omojuwan. He says, where was I at 23? I was in uni in Abeokuta making decisions like whatever to spend 100 naira at the cyber cafe or to buy 3 wraps of fufu and 2 meat. The cyber cafe always won that battle. I'm glad it did. And then Yetunde, that's at Auntie Yetunde, says, this at 23 trend. I just saw a comment where someone said he's getting anxiety reading some people's tweets and comments because even at 30, he hasn't figured out his life yet. Please run your own race. Don't let anyone make you feel less of yourself. And then at Savvy Renu says, I thought at 23 I'd graduate, served, gotten a job and started enjoying. That hasn't happened yet. However, despite the seeming unaccomplishment, I've come to realize at times it doesn't matter when you get there. It's a different process for everyone. Trust the process. And then at Mr. Man here _ says, at 23, the world is not expecting you to already have everything figured out. What it is expecting of you is that you're already setting things in motion. Don't let anybody pressure you, but don't also sleep on the bicycle. Okay? So basically, there's really no age to actually have everything figured out. I mean, there are people who have accomplished so much at 19, at 20, at 21, and then some people who, like, you know, the second person said, even at 30, they still don't have it figured out yet. Some people only start figuring out their lives at 40 something. So there's not really
I think it's pretty much pace, and everyone have their own timing and everything in season. So we should just know what we're doing and when to, you know, overcome whatever it is we're facing. And at the end of the day, it's not about the age, really. It's about what you've been able to accomplish at the time that you are alive. Exactly,
basically. But kudos to every young person who's, you know, out there killing it. So if you're 23 or 30 or whatever, and you're, you know, doing so much, as long as you have your, you know, head in check and you know what you're doing, it doesn't matter when you get there. You definitely get there. But if you already have it figured out at 23, kudos to you. All right, that's it, you know, for what's trending on social media today. We'll go on a break now, and when we come back, we'll be bringing you the big story.
A big thank you for staying tuned to the conversation, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. Don't forget you can always be a part of it by following us across TOS TV network on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all our social media platforms basically, and also our website www.tostvnetwork.com, and subscribe to our YouTube if you've not already done so. It's the big story on the conversation, and today we'll be talking about, does Nigeria need a young president? Since the return of democracy in 1999, Nigerians' burgeoning youth population has made the headlines come election time. In the 2019 election, the sixth in the current 20-year-long democratic dispensation, has highlighted the role of the youth in deciding who rules Africa's most populous nation more than ever before. Nigeria has a population of more than 100 million people between the ages of 18 and 35. Doesn't it seem that this demography is a decision maker of who their leader would be? With the issue surrounding the EndSARS demonstration, do we think Nigeria needs a young president? That is the question on the table this morning. Joining us to discuss this is Osaze Isesele, a youth inclusion advocate. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
How are you?
It's nice to be here.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you. So, first of all, do you think Nigeria as a country needs a young president? Because we'll be talking about young people ruling the country, young people, elections came, and still what we have now, is it a young person ruling? And do we think we need a young person to rule?
Well, before I answer that question, first of all, I want us to understand that when it comes to governance and politics, when it comes to choosing who our leaders would be, age is not really a criteria, so to say. Whether you're old or young doesn't really matter. What matters is the fact that this person we want to bring on board as our leader, is this person competent? Is this person, does this person have the character and integrity that that office, requires? Is this person capacious enough? Does he or she have the capacity? It doesn't even have to do with gender. Like I've said in several forums, it takes a man and a woman to build a family. So if it takes a man and a woman to build a family, it certainly needs a man and a woman to build a nation. Now, having said that, if you now come back home and look at our situation in Nigeria, if I'm going to answer your question, we'll look at it from the demography, which you have already highlighted at the beginning of your opening. You said that Nigeria has almost 100 million young people.
18 to 35.
That means that it is a very big block of decision makers. Now, let me give you statistics. In the 2019 elections, it was said that over 50, if I'm not mistaken, over 50 to 65%, or the major percentage of registered voters were young people. But at the day of the elections, when we look at the voters turnout, a lot of young people did not turn up for the elections, despite the fact that they have the major block of voting share. Now, that goes to say that if young people in Nigeria come together and to say today, we want to install a young president, irrespective of some of the systemic barriers that are already there, I want to believe that young Nigerians will make that happen. If they decide to say today, 2023 is just by the corner, and we want to have a young president. If young Nigerians come together and make that decision, just the same way they came up with that gusto during the EndSARS demonstration, I want to believe that irrespective of the systemic barriers like funding, like not having a hold of the grassroots and all of that, come to think of it, in Nigerian electioneering, who are the people who do the dirty jobs? Who are the people who bring the grassroots people together? These are same young people that that are in the employ of the other politicians. So to answer your question, if young Nigerians want to have a young president today, because they are the decision maker, because they have the largest block of voters, because they have the energy, I want to believe that they would. Now, that's one side. The other side is looking at the way Nigeria has been so far since 1999. We've had presidents that have been way, way, way above 50 and 60 years, I think. I think the youngest president so far in Nigeria should be Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So if you want to look at the fact that with the kind of complex situation Nigeria is, from security challenges to ethnicity challenges, to a breakdown in the education sector, to our economy, it behoves that young people would have the ideas, young people would have the strategies, because they have like we said, we need to still fall back on that demography. They are the largest population in the country. It means they are eventually players at all levels. If you go to the tech sector, for example, you find a young person. You come to the private sector, there's a young person. If you go to name any sector in Nigeria, there's a young person. But they are missing in the area of policy making. They are missing in the area of legislation. They are missing in the area of governance. They are missing in the area of politics. So for me, that area needs some sort of overhaul.
So you're saying that Nigeria as a country right now needs young persons in, the political sector?
I would say yes. I would say yes for obvious reasons. Like I said, the problems of Nigeria right now needs new ideas. It needs new thinking.
And it's from young people.
And I believe that as a young person, we have young people with capacity in this nation. Have you seen how we celebrate young people outside the country?
Yeah.
Young Nigerians who have gone out of the country and they are doing excellently well. Imagine if we have those young people come together at the seat of policy making.
Let me flip this a little bit, right?
All right.
You've gone on as to why maybe the country needs a young person or needs young people, at the helms of affairs.
All right.
But I'm going to take this back. Do you think a young person listing everything that you have listed, the insecurity situation, all of it that we have in Nigeria now, do you think a young person can actually effectively take the reins of the country right now?
Governance is a consortium. It has to be done in partnership at all levels. You know, the local government is there, the state government is there, and then the center is there. Now, what I'm saying is, if we have young persons with capacity, with competence, with character, spread across these levels, bringing on board new ideas, strategic thinking, new ways of doing things, innovation, you would see, of course, a drastic change at all levels. So your question looks like you're blackmailing me, because if we say, with the myriad of challenges we have in this country, do you think a young person has the capacity to handle it? That's why I'm saying it is not just one person at the center. Because of course, let's look at our president, Buhari, for example. No matter how you want to bash the presidency, I'm not exonerating the presidency from its own frailties and faults, which is very, very obvious. It can be seen. That's one side. But then to bring Nigeria to the place of prosperity, it doesn't need just the presidency. We have state governors, we have legislators, we have legislators both at the federal and the state level. So it needs everybody's hands to be on deck. So what I'm saying in answering your question is that if we have young people replicated across board, with new ideas, with new thinking, with new ways of doing things, with new ideologies as to how to handle the problems that we face in Nigeria, I'm very sure that we'll be on our way to growth and prosperity.
And you're saying that decision lies on the young people.
Exactly, because they are the largest number, they have the largest block. Like I gave you that instance. Imagine that we have young people spread across several political positions in 2019, and they have the largest numbers, and they come out and say, this is it, we're just going to support only young people with character, with competence. Those young people, of course, are young people who just want to be in politics because it looks like it looks rosy. You get. But then the caveat is going to be that every young person with capacity, with proven record of competence in their line of endeavor, will be supported, no matter where you're from. If you are from the east, we don't care. If you are from the south, we don't care. We are looking at these variables. You are competent, you have character, and you have capacity to handle, service delivery when it comes to politics and governance.
Okay, so in just 1 minute, 2023 is 2 years away. It's close, right? So if we're going to make this happen, having young people at the helms of affairs across borders, how are we going to do that in less than 60 seconds?
Personally, one of the things I want to do in the next 2 years as a person who is very interested in politics and governance is how to keep the fire that we had during the NSAS burning among the young people till we get to the elections. We are going to do that, even if we are going to do it by education, by sensitization, by creating awareness. We need to let our young people know that the future of this country is in our hands. We have the largest number, we can outnumber these people, we have ideas, we have innovation. For us to do that, first we need to keep that passion burning. We need to let go of that lackadaisical attitude, that makes us apolitical, or that makes us that brings about apathy and makes us disinterested in politics and governance. We need to keep that fire burning, and while we're keeping that fire burning, we have to be bringing ourselves together to begin to form coalition, to begin to form new groups across grassroots, and begin to say, let's begin to identify these competent young people, these people with capacity, these people with character. How do we support them? How do we raise finance? How do we begin to strategize? We need all of those systems to begin to see how we can make that change. And that is why, for me, I feel at all levels, young people, whatever it is that you can do to sustain that passion for a new Nigeria that answers to all our problems. I think we just need to keep that passion going. Not just the passion, but passion that matches action in itself.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Osaze Sesela.
Thank you very
It's been
much.
a wonderful time with you on the show this morning.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget, you can always be a part of the whole of the programs that we have listed for you by following us across all our social media platforms at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to always subscribe if you've not done so, and tell someone so you can get all the amazing content we have for you. That's what basically I'm saying. Thank you so much. I am Merciful Ejinamo.
My name is Adesuwa Osuyi. Good morning and thank you for joining us today.